This is episode 2 of Sexless Relationship. I am Dr. Glover. I'm a couple psychologist that helps couples with intimacy issues of all kinds, with sexless relationship being one of them. So in my previous episode, we talked about the POV of the partner who is lacking desire or missing their desire. And this POV is all about the partner who's just wanting so desperately to have more connection and contact sexually with their partner, but is growing more and more frustrated and distant. If you're this partner, your entire goal is to be close, to experience this intimacy because you truly enjoy it, you feel safe with your partner. And as the months, weeks, years go by and there's less and less sex, it grows and grows more frustrating and hurtful because there's such a vital piece of connection that is missing. And you can't help but land in a place of hurt because this is the way that you want to express yourself and stay close to your partner. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about how rejection starts to play a role in this endeavor with sexless relationships, closeness and connection within the sexual experience, being the initiator, and work through your part in this sexless relationship. If you're the person that is initiating sex, it takes a lot of courage because you are extending yourself, showing not only what it is that you want, but you're inviting this person to enjoy something that is so meaningful to you. And when you experience your partner not being interested, giving you the signs that they don't want to, or just flat out saying they don't want to have sex, it can feel really crushing for you as the individual because all you want is that closeness. Initially, you might get to a place where you are trying to make it better and safer for your partner to increase the odds for them to want sex. But then over time, you are like, is something wrong with me? I don't feel wanted. I don't feel desirable to my partner. And it starts to wound your sense of self. When you get to that place of starting to question and doubt yourself, it can be really lonely. And you start to turn this experience of sex not happening as proof that you are not the chosen one, that you are not good enough for your partner. And as you can tell, the experience of being rejected can be incredibly spiraling and shame-fueled and very confusing because you don't know how to navigate through these very complex feelings because there's a lot at stake when it comes to sex for you. And so here's the dilemma. Everything that you are trying to work through within your own rejection sometimes can turn into you becoming really hypervigilant about sex, meaning that you're looking for every which way to see if your partner is signaling. Maybe even you stop initiating sex because you don't want to be vulnerable, or being vulnerable really is scary and it's hurt in the past. So you are just waiting longingly for your partner to initiate because you don't want to put yourself out there. And one of the biggest conundrums that I see partners who desire their partner but keeps on experiencing a reluctant partner or a partner that continues to say no is that they might get so frustrated, they express their frustration that causes their partner to start feeling guilty and then falls into obligatory sex. And for your part in that dynamic doesn't feel very satisfying because you recognize that your partner isn't fully and emotionally there with you the way that you have had them in the past. So you might actually start masking more and more the hurt, and you might start just expressing more and more anger and frustration. When anger enters the experience, it absolutely diminishes the desire in your partner because now it is felt as punitive. And as I had mentioned in my previous episode about the accelerator and brake system, it might actually do the opposite of what you wish, which is instead of it being an invitation for there to be more sexual intimacy, it turns into less because your anger has officially engaged your partner's brake system. By the time the partner has dealt with this frustration and rejection for months on end, they might accidentally put all the pressure on their partner to figure out the future of sex. And that completely makes sense logically as to how a person arrives at that. Because if your partner is saying no for sex, you feel as though that they are the drivers of sex and when it can and can't happen. So it's natural to say, you know what, when you want sex, then I will join in. Even though that makes sense, now your partner has to think about the entirety of sex and hold the baggage of the future of sex. Sex is not something that is fixed by itself. It's something that has to be done by both people. And your part in this that you can actually help is, first, you need to be able to identify the emotional injuries that you have. What is fueling that anger? If you're at a place where you're disconnected, you're angry, it's very important that you actually identify how big the resentment is, what emotions are fueling that resentment, because these unresolved feelings can be laced in the language. One of the best examples is that a lot of couples might initiate sex using time instead of leading with pleasure. For example, I've seen couples who will start a conversation saying, all right, it's been 2 weeks since we last had sex. There is nothing sexy about that statement, but the partner that has been rejected maybe don't feel vulnerable to say, I desire you, I want to feel close to you, I want to experience this thing with you. Maybe you've gotten to a place you don't want to say that out loud, so you might frame it in that way as a way to protect yourself and to help cue your partner to maybe send you a signal that you can engage. So that's why it's so important to be able to name the emotional experiences that you're having that is fueling the way in which you're communicating to your partner. The second thing is that you have a vital role in helping to co-create safety with your partner. And what co-creating safety is maximizing the experience for your partner to move closer to sex by helping them to remove the context and the obstacles that get in the way of them being able to pursue sex. And then another thing is helping to slow down when your partner's brake system has been engaged. It is so important that when your partner isn't in a place where their accelerator is going, that you be able to safely be the one to say, okay, let's slow down. You have a vital role in helping your partner move towards it, and if their brake system is engaged, to be able to honor and respect that and help them through that without pressure, without judgment, and staying as curious and as open as possible. And the final place that you can start doing the work is understanding where connection and closeness happen, not just within the context of sex, but outside of it. If you notice that you're not able to be vulnerable outside of the context of sex, that's what you want to also increase. And that way, sex becomes something that is an addition to the closeness and connection that you already feel. In the next episode, we're going to be looking at how couples communication starts to break down around sex. Why is it so hard to actually work through this, especially when we examine what's being communicated based on how we feel and how to work through that. If you found this video helpful, follow me for more.